Dr. Nurse Podcast fam, welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nurse Podcast. I am so excited to have on our next guest for today. Her name is Stephanie Simmerman. She is a BSN RN in 2007. She finished her DNP in 2012, and she has got most of her experience in working in dermatology as an RN and then also as an NP now. And she, on her fun time, likes to weight train, be outdoors, anything outdoors she likes. And she's got 2 babies and she's a wife and a mama and doing all the things that women do to keep work-life balance. So welcome, Stephanie, to the podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you today about what you guys have got going on in your neck of the woods.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate you having me. This is such an honor and a privilege, and I couldn't be more excited to be here today.
Oh, yeah, man. Let's dive in because we were talking before the podcast and we're just so aligned. I just feel super comfortable talking with you. So this is exciting.
And happy birthday, P.S.
Oh, thank you. True mama fashion, working on your birthday.
Celebrate yourself. That's so true. Like, what are you doing? You're spending your birthday with me?
Love it. Hanging out with a nurse practitioner. Honestly, they're my people. So I'm with my people today. It just feels wonderful. So,
well, thank you for having me.
Yes. So tell me a little bit, again, how you see yourself, kind of what it is that you do in, day out, on top of all the roles that you've got going on.
Gotcha. So I am a career working mama. I've got a lot of focus right now. I've kind of taken a pivot over the last few years of my career of just kind of always thinking of myself as a clinician, a dermatology nurse practitioner, right? And just like this was my role and this is what I was doing. And 3 years ago, I just started to get the itch that there was something else out there. There was something that I could take from good to great. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to do and how I could incorporate the knowledge base that I've gained over the last 11 years of practice in dermatology, and have really just kind of decided to lean in on some of my industry partners as resources to help me professionally grow and evolve as I'm trying to essentially evolve myself into more of a business clinician that has impact not only on patient care, but then also on decision making within an organization because it has such an impact on us that are taking care of patients.
Oh, I like that. So you're starting to kind of move from the individual trees to like the forest. Like, how do I kind of get like more of a global picture and really affect change in a way that can actually trickle down to help the individual NPs? I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about just kind of what you guys are building on the side. You and Patricia reached out to me wanting to share something with my community, and you were like, hey, we're building something kind of in that same vein. Kind of tell me about what you're building on the side here.
Gotcha. So I'm part of the Florida DNA chapter, and this is our second year that we are. The Florida DNA is the Florida Dermatology Nurses Association. Okay. And so we are the Florida chapter of the national organization, the Dermatology Nursing Association. And so we've been trying to grow this organization to grow not only NPs, but also be inclusive of our PA population, what we kind of lump together and call us APPs, Advanced Practice Providers. Yeah. And so we're not this exclusive group where if you're a PA, you can't, participate. We want strength in numbers. We want everybody involved. Sure. And so really our mission and goal here is to create a conference that's a little bit different than everything else that's out there, right? How do we set ourselves apart? And so we have a restricted number of seats because we want to keep ours a little bit more intimate, if you will, like to have a boutique feel. So it doesn't feel as corporate and there's hundreds of people and there's so many that you just get lost amongst the crowd unless you already know people or know how to network really well. Because let's be honest, a lot of people starting out are learning how to do these things. And so what we've done is this is our second year of hosting the conference. We've kept it rather small so that we can have that real close-knit, hands-on, intimate connection with people to where you remember people's names and you get time with those that you're looking to engage with, whether that's us, whether that's industry. So many of the leaders within the Florida DNA, they're starting their own side hustle. They're looking at starting their own practices. And so you've got this group full of primarily women, but there are men also there that are just really challenging the narrative and really saying, hey, we're resources. And if you have questions, when you're here, connect. Right? Don't be afraid.
So it sounds like what you guys are trying to build is a community for other APPs that are wanting to create community. It sounds like that's what you guys are trying to foster, is like a community of nurse practitioners and PAs that are kind of trying to kind of trailblaze their own way, but then don't feel like where are my people? Like the people that are trying to kind of create stuff for themselves. Is that kind of like what I'm hearing?
I do. And I think that that's just something that naturally happened because the group of people that Patricia, our, president, started to put together have a real entrepreneurial spirit. And so, the goal was build the organization, build the conference, share education, help with networking. And then I think what a lot of us realized is, holy smokes, you have this group of leaders here that have another set of skills and an ability to make impact in a different way. And I think that we're now starting to really capitalize on some of those skills with whether it's the presentations that we're having or the demonstrations. And so it really is kind of this culmination of a lot of things, but that I think we really add something to the table.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And for someone that's maybe that maybe doesn't have the entrepreneurial spirit yet, is this something that is for them as well?
Oh, I love that question. Yes, I didn't. I was the person that would go to a conference or congress and I would take off my name badge and just go sit and listen to lectures, right? That was just never, it was never something that I thought I was going to do. I was raised, I have two incredible parents, so it's not knocking my parents, but the way I was raised was very much you work for the man, right? It's safe, it's secure, it's comfortable, and that's good. And you have a wonderful job. And, it was never to have that entrepreneurial spirit and drive. And I've noticed even my brother and I, as we've gotten older, we're starting to challenge that a little bit. So I would say 100%, and I don't like saying that, but it is absolutely for those people because it's a part of it. It's not all of it. And you never know that inspiration you might walk away from the conference with to think, that challenges my narrative. That challenges some of the things that I thought, right? Would be for me the rest of my life, which is a clinician.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking about too? Even if you don't have the entrepreneurial spirit, even if you're just working as a dermatology nurse practitioner and you're thinking, okay, what could I be gleaning by getting in a community, getting into these conferences with other nurse practitioners and PAs, you're just going to be hearing ideas so that when you go back to work, you can start to maybe find gaps. You can maybe start to go, hey, listen, I'm actually really interested in this just in general. And so maybe I can just start while I'm here getting paid by the quote unquote man. I can start to really perfect and hone in on these skills so that maybe eventually down the road, if I do want to go off on my own, I can work up underneath the tutelage of a physician or whoever, another nurse practitioner or PA, get really good at this, and then maybe hone in on those skills and do them later. It actually helps you begin with the end in mind, because if you're able to be around people that are at a certain point in their careers where they were able to go, hey, listen, I've worked this long and now this is what I'm moving towards. Hey, listen, like I always tell my husband, like when the ship is going down, follow the rats, like where's everybody going? Like where are you all going so that you can then go ahead and go, maybe I am going to end up in that same spot at some point. I might evolve into that. And so maybe I should start thinking about that now so I can maybe I can build something for myself eventually. And so I think it'll be super rewarding for someone to even just start to be in those spaces career-wise so that you can grow as your life evolves. And go ahead, what were you going to say?
It's like, thank you for letting me interrupt, because I think it's like you just saw into my soul, right? Because this is so where and what and being strategic, what I've tried to do, which is here is what my ultimate goal is. My goal is to achieve what I'd like to within my organization. But the reality is that may or may not happen, right? For a number of reasons. So I have to be able to pivot. But as I navigate this, maybe I'm not doing it step by step the way I thought I would. But each time an obstacle presents, it's actually an opportunity. And I'm not trying to sound like a self-help talk right now, but I really have learned throughout the last couple of years, because it was so deflating. If something didn't go the right way, we couldn't get a meeting scheduled, I didn't get the position I was hoping, right? That it's like, wait a minute, something else presents. How did that then help me grow? So while one part of me may have been disappointed and hurt, I was growing another 4 or 5 parts of me, my public speaking ability, right? My ability to feel more confident, whatever it was. And your point about I'm being paid by industry. So not only am I growing, it's a side hustle. I am making money at it, right? And so it's like, I'm not paid to go to these classes where people are teaching me. They're teaching me and paying me for my time. And then I'm getting to perfect it as I'm working towards these other things.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of going with the next question, which we're talking about is like the benefits
Yeah.
of conferences and why we do these conferences with other nurse practitioners. And we've talked a little bit about some of the benefits, such as networking, hearing about things that other people are doing, being able to just kind of sit and like listen and absorb and learn. But it just goes kind of back to that and what you're saying. Like it allows that processing, that thinking, that investment in yourself, which is the thing that when we do, you give yourself opportunities when you invest in yourself. And conferences are an opportunity to do that, investing in yourself. So tell my listeners kind of what you and Patricia are building as far as a conferencing opportunity for dermatology and maybe dermatology interested nurse practitioners and PAs. Because if you're interested in dermatology, I noticed that it's really hard to get into. So it's kind of helpful if you know some people. And so even if you're like, I'm not kind of interested in dermatology, what's kind of what you guys are launching and when, and kind of give your shtick.
Thank you. So I think that's a really great part about our organization is that you can be derm naive and also join. This is not for like the master class, right, of dermatology. We do have higher level lectures, but we also have very hands-on things as well. And so we share best practice. What makes us a little bit different than others is we introduce a little bit of humor with like comedians there, right? So it's not just a data dump for like 8 or 9 hours where you're sitting there and you've lost me now because I'm exhausted and we've been sitting in this hard chair for hours on end.
Yeah.
And so what we get to see are these workshops where you're hands-on. Last year we did suturing workshops. This year, Dr. Resnick is coming out because he's a supporter of APPs and wants to help educate, which is incredible. And so he's going to be doing HS, which is hidradenitis suppurativa. It's an inflammatory condition, right, that a lot of people don't really know a lot about. Armpits, under the breast, groin. And so he's coming out to help train. And this is a hands-on, right, experience. And because we're smaller in volume, you can do these things that you don't do at larger, bigger conferences without paying a steep price to go the day before to do workshops. So this is all included in the like $99 fee for the conference. And so it really, really highlights how and why we're different because a lot of people, you get a certain, continuing education, right, budget or allowance. Where do you want to spend it and how? And so it's a really reasonably priced conference in a great location that is different than the rest once you learn about what we're offering in terms of hands-on experience.
Yeah. I even think for like a primary care nurse practitioner, this is something that like, this would be helpful. I mean, these are concepts and things you see in primary care that, I mean, depending on your clinic and depending on if you're an entrepreneur and you own your own primary practice, these are things that you could learn to treat. And if you got decent at it, good at it, you could actually be treating them almost kind of like in a concierge medicine type way. And so it's not just for derm, like you're saying, it could be for any nurse practitioner that's maybe interested in that technique and learning certain things. What do you think?
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that there is so much that we can offer because it's not that master class that we talked about, right? So you can be a beginner, you can be not even in derm, and you'll learn something at this conference and you won't be so overwhelmed. You're like, that was just a waste of my time and money. I think, last year we had quite a few RNs that were there at the conference. And that I thought was pretty special because these are people that are looking to get into, dermatology as an RN. And that's how I worked for my organization and then went back to school. People who have, you're dealing with burnout in the hospital and fatigue and all those things. And so you have a different time right now with the workforce. And so I think that not only are we at that NP level, but I think that there's something for RNs as well.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how the conference is broken up. So it's a full day conference and starting at what time, ending at what time? Like who are some of the kind of the headliners? I know you just kind of shared one with that physician that's coming to talk about I can never say that, hidradenitis.
HS, hidradenitis suppurativa.
Yes, that right there, that. So what else do you guys have at this conference?
So I'm very blessed to be standing with a wonderful group of people. Some of the people that are there with me, we've got 2 PAs. We've got Shanna Moranti and then Sarah Drew. They both work in my practice. And so they're going to come up and do some lectures. And Patricia Delgado.
Yes. So she's been on the podcast. Love her. She's so sweet. And she is super motivated in having other nurse practitioners and PAs grow their dermatology careers.
We're going to start on Friday morning. We're going to on October 20th. This is in St. Pete at the Hilton. And we're going to start with a breakfast from 7:45 to 8:45. And then we've got a welcome speech. And then we dive right into it with Keisha Cash, Dr. Cash doing a doc on atopic dermatitis. Then we're going to do a product theater, which I'm speaking at for Arcutis on a topical for psoriasis. Kristen Crump is doing a breakout session, which is our basic procedure workshop, which was fantastic last year. And we also have Dr. Resnick, who's going to be there doing the HS de-roofing demonstration for us. And then we go into some more lectures throughout the day. We do another product theater. We're talking anywhere from psoriasis, hair loss, vitiligo. I'm doing a talk on business sense. So building your brand and your business, as a clinician. So we're really attacking a lot of different angles with inflammatory disease, building your brand, the product theaters to help, support industry and learn about medications. Yeah. And then also things like acne. And then Sarah Drew is doing a presentation on cosmetics, right? And what to look for and what do you do when things go wrong. So just really diverse set of topics.
Yeah. So we're talking like Botox, Juvederm, all those like those lady fillers. And men.
Exactly.
Do it. Anyone that wants to have them, But
and
cool,
then we return back on Saturday. It's from 8 to about 3:30 that day, and just on some biologics and things like that. Dr. Glick is another fantastic APP supporter that's coming over to talk about biologics and therapeutics. And so we've got a great group of people who are really supportive of our community and want to help us and collaborate. And I think that that's another point that I want to really emphasize on is, there's a shortage of providers, right? And so essentially what's happening is we all need to make sure that we do our best to build relationships with collaborative physicians so that we have the volume of well-trained APPs to take care of people. And so I really like to highlight those that come out to support us because it's so important.
Yeah, I think what you said is important because of the fact that you want well-trained. You want a well-trained nurse practitioner. You want a well-trained PA. And these opportunities that you guys are creating with your conference allow for nurse practitioners to invest in themselves, to be the best that they can be as we are stepping side by side with physicians and working in a different way, but still working alongside of them to be the best that we can be. And that's one of the things that, again, is something that I think it is a calling on all providers, nurse practitioners, PAs, doctors, all of us to be the best that we can be operating and investing in ourselves so that we can then turn and give those benefits to our patients. And you don't want a doctor any more than you want a nurse practitioner that hasn't been investing in themselves in years and it's just been kind of drudgery practicing. Like I want the guy that's up on the latest and the greatest and he's been keeping up with certain things because I don't want that in a physician. I don't want it in a nurse practitioner. Like I just want we want our providers to be, especially NPs, because that's what we are, but to be up to date on what's the newest thing. What are people doing, getting exposure and hearing things. And that's what's really cool. Because when a doctor, you go see a physician and he's like, actually, I'm not great at this, but let me tell you who is. He's been networking with people that he knows is good. And so if you notice like, hey, listen, I'm not great at this, but this one is, you can refer patients so that they get the access to the care that they need. Like, I just think that that's practicing good medicine, and these conferences
Who doesn't want what's best, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't want what's best? Go ahead.
And I really like that you keep going in on like the investment you're making in yourself, right? It's knowing your value, right? As an APP and what you're capable of doing with the proper training. But like what higher dividend are you ever going to get back than taking time to invest in your own, right? Personal growth, knowledge development, and things like that. And that's what these conferences I feel like do and what they can offer. And I don't know, what we do here is a labor of love. It's on our own time. We're not paid to develop these conferences, and this is all volunteer work. And so there's such a mission behind it and a belief that you spend time away from your loved ones, not earning any side money, but just because you believe in the mission and what it provides for people.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a 2-day conference to, again, invest in yourself and grow your skills, grow your networking, because as you know, your network is your net worth. And so I love that. And just knowing that like you're going to be touting with other people in the industry and they're going to be exposing you to things that you might not have known about. And it's just going to be this collaborative effort, like you said. And I think it's going to be really growing. So where do people sign up? I know you had said that the price was about $100, like for a 2-day conference. Yep. That's insane.
And it includes parking. Yep.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what am I doing on that day? Like, should I go? Like, I had to like pause.
We'll give you a voucher if you're coming. So where you can sign up is you can go to our website at sunrisederm.org. It's
I'll link
all
it in
right
the
there.
show.
And they
I'll link it in
thank
the
you.
show notes.
And
Yeah.
they did such an awesome job. Like even on the website, when I was looking at it this morning again, you know how sometimes you're like, oh, what's my NPI? What's this, right? All that information you need to be able to register for. The links are there to help you find that. So it's not like, oh, I can't remember that. I got to go to the Board of Nursing website and all of those things. So
Yeah.
Patricia did, like, they made an awesome website. It's easy to navigate and it's, pretty centrally located in Tampa.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And then, so that's where people sign up, $100. And then one of the things I think as kind of, one of the, I guess, people that are kind of building this up, I know you're probably thinking like, if you could get someone to kind of say like, I want them to go to this conference and leave with this one piece of advice or like thing that you're like, I just want this conference to be this thing. Like, what's your vision for it? And if you could put that vision on each individual nurse practitioner, PA, nurse that comes, like what would be the one thing that you'd hope that they would glean from the conference?
That is such an excellent and yet challenging question. It was the one, like when I reviewed the pre-questions, I thought the one thing, right?
One thing.
And it's one thing. And I'm like, I still struggle with what and how to be able to answer that because, not to sound cliche, but I think it offers so much, but it's like, what was my takeaway from it? Last year, there was just so much growth. It was just that there's so much opportunity. Right. And it's that growth mindset and just how it best supports that. And just being able to be aware of what's out there because you have people who have navigated it for over a decade.
Yeah.
Try to just give you a high level of, you can do whatever you want. This is what's out there. Chase it if you want. Stay in clinic if you want. It's just, I really think it's that personal professional growth for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's it, right? That's the one take home is that she wants you to leave and walk away and go, oh my goodness, I didn't even know about all the things I could do, all the opportunities that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I can literally grow this thing in any way that I want. I could take my nursing degree, my nursing license, my nurse practitioner, skills and opportunity and scope and run in a direction. And I can be amazing at this thing or that thing, or I can be, again, I think sometimes too, when we see these physicians and they specialize in something like so small, it's like, I'm the doctor that just does this thing. It's like, wow, like he's the expert in that. And like, maybe in these conferences, you'll find something that you just go like, oh, that's my jam. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Or I hate all of that. I don't want to do any of it, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you come away with. Right.
I love that you pointed out, like, where it's how you realize the gaps, right? Because that's essentially where my LLC has come from, is me looking at it and saying, wow, everybody's out there talking about disease state mechanism of action, but who's out there talking about recruitment, retention, emotional intelligence, right? All of these things that elevated operations that I'm trying to build into, I'm not sure what yet, has to offer. And so I think that it's just incredibly empowering.
Yeah. What's the name of your LLC?
Elevated Operations.
Elevated Operations. So that's the name of it. Okay. I didn't think I did. Was that on your LinkedIn? I don't think that I saw that on your LinkedIn.
It's not there yet. I have to do a better job at some self-promotion. So I literally was just, and this is another thing that I was hoping to segue a little bit into. I know we're running over on time probably.
Not at all. Keep going. Keep talking.
Okay.
No, you're good.
So I didn't introduce enough about industry. And so industry has a lot to offer. And when you're at these conferences, to be able to intimately network with leaders that are there, because you'll have sales reps that are there, you'll have thought leader liaisons. TLLs are kind of the people that connect. I'm using a lot of acronyms, but KOLs. Yeah. So in industry, I'm considered a key opinion leader. And so a key opinion leader, like in eczema and psoriasis, and now on operations, is where I'm getting some attention. And so now I'm being invited out to conferences, not just to do a product theater on a topical, but now also like, hey, Steph did a talk at Podium about the emotional intelligence, hiring, recruiting, building your template, all of these things that have helped her become a high level clinician, but also be happy with what she's doing at work, right? So what's that sweet spot? And so industry helps.
Industry, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. When you say industry, you mean kind of where we get the products from, right? You're talking like pharma. Okay. So you're working and becoming that liaison between pharma and the providers.
Yeah, so pharma has really stepped in, whether it's with certain companies with their strategic teams or their TLLs, or thought leader liaisons. There's people in industry that want to know you. They want to know what you want to do. And when they find that out, they want to help promote you. And so when you get on this circuit, yeah, it's been incredible. So the last 9 years of my career, I was a clinician, young kids. My kids are a little bit older now. So it's created a little bit more opportunity for me to expand this.
Yeah.
But essentially within the last 3 years, I have gone from just a clinician to now I travel almost twice a month to go do a national podium talk. Or, I mean, it's absolutely incredible because when you network with the right people, they see you, they see your drive and passion and talent. They help build you as you're growing because they know where you're starting from. They have a vested interest to see you be successful because when you look good, they look good. Right. And so it's really, really incredible. And the providers or the companies that are there, they're there because they have good products, right? You can be selective on sponsorship and who you want
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. It's not just, oh, because they gave us money for a conference here, we want you to network them. It's like, no, these are people we wanted here because we believe in what they've developed. We support it, right? And then they support us. So when I was raised, my dad worked retail and it was always you support those who support you, right? He worked for Walmart. Was I going to go shop at Target? No.
Ooh, I
Right.
see what you're saying. But there's no different than like affiliate marketing and like all these other brand things that we follow on Instagram of people being like,
right.
I love Thrivecart, I love ButcherBox. Like they all have, and again, they like those companies for different reasons. And there's no different. And from the healthcare standpoint, I think from being like, hey, listen, we believe in this brand because of these things. And we know what patients need and these companies prioritize these things. And so we support them. Like,
Yeah, it's
and vice
incredible
versa.
because you look
Yeah.
at that, like even my team, my MAs, I'm very blessed. My team has been with me. I've got a 10-year MA, a 5-year MA, and then we have our newbie now.
You
I
say
know. So
medical
it's just,
assistant, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
crazy. Yeah.
So it's just phenomenal. And even my girls will talk about that, right? So it's not we're loyal to a product because I'm speaking for them or because they support a conference that I'm at. We're loyal to a product because it works. They've got a great patient assistance program, right? They've got samples available for us. They've essentially made things, and you can tell the companies that do it well because they already know what a clinician is going to look for and what they want, right? To best support their patient care and or the clinician. And the girls, right, don't have this administrative burden with the prior authorizations and all these things that go into it. And these companies get it and they're doing their best to support us. And in turn, we're supporting them. And it really is ultimately all about our patient because we're using things that work and it's how do we get it to them faster, right? And cheaper.
Yes.
So there's just so much to it. And that small, like the exhibit halls that you'll often see at a conference, we have one. And it's just really nice because it's small. There's not, 40 vendors that you need to go get stickers to sign off on your page to get a reward. You just get a lot of nice time and one-on-one where people really get to know your name and about you.
Yeah, that is so neat. Man, you guys are really building something cool here. I think it's going to be a big benefit to a lot of nurse practitioners, PAs, and RNs that work in derm or maybe are derm curious. That's like a term, like, are you derm curious? But I think that's
I like that.
Yeah, I kind of like it too. Like I'm kind of interested in this. And so you can kind of, again, get that exposure network. But then also, and what you said, that big takeaway is just to see the opportunity, to see what you can do with your degree and with your nursing license and with your nurse practitioner scope and see what's available for your career. So I think that's really neat. And I was going to do rapid fire with you, Stephanie. If you want to do rapid fire, I always do rapid fire after my episodes. It's
Let's
just kind
try
of
this.
like fly by the seat of your pants, just see what. Okay. So in honor of birthdays, I think I'll just go there. What do you think is the best age to be?
Oh my goodness. I just turned 40 this last year.
Yes.
And I will tell you, it's been pretty much one of my best years. And
Oh,
so I'm really embracing it. I'm just like, this is, it's part of it. Like, I just feel like I'm coming into I'm hoping is one of my best decades.
yeah.
Where you've gotten through some of the thick of it with work and starting your career and building your home and things that are supposed to be really exciting and fun, but can also be very, very stressful.
Yeah.
So now I'm 10 years into practice and you're feeling a little more comfortable, never, arrogant or anything like that, but you're like, wow, this is really cool. We
like
talked a little bit before.
Stride.
Yeah, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm making impact, right? And my kids are seeing a career working mother hold it down and be present. So when I am here, it's about them. And I may not be here every single night, but that's okay, right? Because their dad's here. My parents live next door to us, right? We have all of these support structures in place that you can do it all. And so I think in that respect, I think
I
this
like
is
that.
I think this is
That's
it.
cool, Stephanie. And then if you
Thanks.
had to give a book to someone as a book for maybe career or life development, what would it be? What would be a book that you'd just be like, that's my calling card or a business card?
I really like the book Good to Great.
I heard you say
And
go from good to great. So like when you said that, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, she's been reading. Homegirl's been
Yeah,
reading. It's such a good book.
and it's
Such a
probably
good
like also the foundation with my dad, like with Walmart. Like I really like Sam Walton's autobiography. I think it was
Yeah.
autobiography because it really talked about finding opportunity, right? He walked around stores and people showed him how they were doing things, and then he took that and he created Walmart out of that, because
Yes.
people were just like, oh, this little guy walking around in his jeans and his little accent, and like, who is he? And then he took all of that information and built what he did, and I found that to be like,
Inspirational.
right.
Yeah. No, I love that
Mm-hmm.
story. And then for the last one, we'll do 3. Oh, what's your favorite season? Like if you had to like pick a season, you're like, this is me, like in a season, winter, fall, spring, summer. This is when I'm
It's
just my best.
definitely it's definitely fall.
Definitely
When the
fall. Okay.
weather's, yeah, definitely fall. The weather starts to get nice. You can go outside more, fall in
Yeah.
Florida, right? Relative, but it's super motivating. I just feel like, it's the opposite of when I grew up in Michigan up north. You stayed inside all winter, right? Well, it's like the opposite. You stay inside all summer down here.
True.
And now all of a sudden it's tolerable. You can go out and bike ride and just do all the things that you want to do that you can't in the summer. So it's just refreshing. It's just to go
Yeah.
outside and take a deep breath, and it's not full of humidity. And so I just find it really invigorating.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually love
Yeah.
autumn here as well. And I think it starts to kind of feel like really peaceful. I don't know why. Like, because you've
Yeah.
just been like hot all summer, like crocodile skin, like you're just like, oh, and then finally like,
Yeah.
yes, and you're just like, oh, like stay here, like love this space. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm with you. Good pick, good pick. Well, Stephanie, it's been a joy to chat with you. Thanks for coming on and sharing about your conference. I'm actually going to have you guys give me that PDF that you have for your conference, and I'll throw that in my YouTube video when I launch this.
This has been
Yeah,
fabulous. Thank you for
it's been so
having
much
me. And I
fun.
hope you
Yeah.
have a spectacular birthday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, like I
Of
said,
course.
a better thing to do than just to hang out with nurse practitioners. I've enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Well,
All
thank you
right.
guys. And again, don't forget to enjoy the journey of your career. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Bye bye.